New World dead game. I don't think so. Yeah, I would agree. I don't think it's a dead game. Especially like just how it's going. It's on a trajectory just going up and up and up. So, and this is obviously with Asmon reacting to 5 Hit Survival Gaming. I don't think I've ever seen their videos, but let's take a look.
Hey guys, welcome to another New World video. In today's video I want to talk about the state of the game, or more specifically,
Okay.
how we might fix it. The reason I'm making this video is simply to provide honest and simple feedback to the dev team at AGS, as well.
I think one thing they should work on is like the animations, like adding abilities that actually have cool animations. Because I think a lot of the abilities just kind of look like auto attacks.
As get people talking and thinking in a more constructive and positive way.
Okay.
I have noticed lately, myself included here, that as a community we have started to become so frustrated with the development choices lately that we are becoming negative and borderlining in some cases on
Oh,
toxic,
really? I
and
thought
this
people
is
were
not a
like
good thing. My
looking forward
objective
to
in
it.
making videos has always been to work with
I wonder what he's talking about. Because from my understanding, a lot of people have been looking at the new changes in a good
the
light.
community to share ideas, strategies, and work to improve both players' experiences as
Okay.
well as the game in general. My
Great.
intention was never to give anyone the impression I hate the game. Clearly I don't. As a person who has played the game for almost 5,000 hours, taking the time to create...
Jesus
Gee,
Christ. What the fuck are you?
dude, freaking Asmon beat me to. Like, what the fuck, dude? 5,000 hours. Like, this is basically World of Warcraft to Asmon, like, fucking during Wrath.
Talking about 5,000 hours. Oh
That's
my
insane.
God.
That's straight up insane.
content surrounding my experiences in the game, I can assure you, I have nothing but passion when it comes to New World. The problem,
Yeah, I
however,
bet.
is that lately my passion has manifested itself in the form of what's coming across as hate or anger, when it would be better described simply as frustration. So what I want to do today is something different. In this video,
I think a lot of WoW players can relate to that.
I would like to talk about some things that could happen in my opinion as well as the opinions of the community to repair New World. Not only
Okay.
the game, but the relationship the devs have with the community as well.
Okay.
Now, I don't plan to blindly speak for the community. I have both wrote out my thoughts, as well as scattered the forums, Reddit, various discords, and messaged other players. I have compiled a collection of things that I think need to happen, as well as we hope will happen. So, let's get into it. So a good place to begin would be with the in-game features.
Okay.
Things that the average MMO player has grown to expect from any AAA title that they log into. I will say going into this that I am aware that New World was originally intended to be a survival type game.
Who gives
I
a
will
fuck?
say going into this that I am aware that New World was originally intended to be a survival type game,
I
so
agree.
it will be difficult to implement some of these things. However, I do also think that it will be important for them to figure out a way, regardless of how difficult it is, if they want the game to succeed in the long term. First, we need to have gear set storage. With the number of trade skills...
That's true. That's 100% true. Gear set storage is important. I don't think anybody wants to walk around with 7 different helmets. You've got your
Yeah.
fucking, Angry Earth helmet. You've got your PvP helmet. You've got your farming helmet. You've got your blacksmithing helmet. You've got your weaponsmithing helmet. You've got your tanning helmet. You've got your...
Yeah, basically they should do what Final Fantasy kind of has it, where the storage is unique in terms of your equipment. Like your helmet has its own storage, your weapon has its own storage, and then of course you have the generic or not generic general inventory. I think Final Fantasy did it really, really, really well because you can of course change classes on the fly. So I think they figured out the a good what's the word I'm looking for system that really helps.
Ancient Guardian's helmet. You've got your corrupted helmet. How many fucking helmets do you need? It's ridiculous. Your fishing helmet. Yeah, what the fuck, man?
gather skills, different wards, and of course PvP. There simply has to be a way for us to store and quickly access these sets separate.
They
Yeah,
absolutely have the ability to do this. Like 100 fucking%. There's no way they don't.
like with Final Fantasy again, like you can save sets, and I think you can even name them. Um, and I think yeah, they should really look into Final Fantasy's system when it comes to that. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's way better than what New World has.
Don't.
Many people who play New World live busy adult lives, so having to dig
That's
around in
true.
your various
Bunch of
storage
boomers.
sheds to
Yep.
find pieces of gear in order to do a simple task just wastes too much time
It
and
does.
leads to lost gear and frustration. This absolutely needs to be a priority quality of life feature that has to hit the game sooner rather than later. Many people put forward great ideas like mannequins and stuff like that. But if that's too intense, something as simple as implementing the sorting that you have added to the market into our storage would be a great midway temporary solution, allowing us to then quickly search our storage by perks, allowing us to easily find the gear we are after.
Nah, that's not what they should do. What they should do is they should make it where like whenever you tab and you see your inventory, you can make like separate gear sets as like different subsets inside that inventory. So like you can move those different things around, or you can move it to where each of those different types of armor go in and out of different groupings of armor. That loadouts, effectively like loadouts.
Yeah, I was going to say just fucking add loadouts. I was just about to say that. I was going to say saving the what's currently equipped, naming it, and that's it. Like it's a loadout basically. I forgot the term, but yeah, just loadouts.
Yeah, presets or whatever you want to call them. That's what they should do. No, mannequin. I don't give a fuck about a mannequin.
We don't
Yeah.
expect it to be perfect overnight, and not all solutions have to be massive game-changing things. And of course I know this has already been announced, but I am just reiterating it, because it will hurt the game in a serious way if it is late. That
Yeah.
brings me to the next thing I really think needs to be changed, and that is the storage system itself. The storage system in New World is something we would expect to find in a game like Ark Survival or Rust. It is clearly left over from a previous iteration
Yeah.
of the game and is nothing even close to what people expect.
I don't like games with weights systems in general. I'll be honest. Like I've never had it, and then like, oh, this like I like working with this. It's like no, it's annoying. Just have slots. Just makes it easy, and it's not like iron weighs more than like honey or something like that. So you have to worry about that when you're like mining iron. Like it's just annoying.
And want to see in an MMO.
I agree with this too. I think the storage system, like especially since they're all combined now, there's no value in having the storage zones and the storage areas separated. Like I don't think that, for example, like having your Windsward.
Oh, they're talking about that. Oh, yeah, I would. I thought they were talking about the weight system, but no, that's absolutely true. Like I still think that was a poor decision to have everything separate. I think you should have three, I guess, total inventories. Your own inventory, your personal, what you have on you, your bags, your your house's inventory, I guess, and then like maybe an equipment inventory. Um, like Final Fantasy's equipment inventory. So I think that to me would be the best way to go forward.
And your Everfall storage is separated provides any value for the player. All it is a pointless
annoying.
complication.
Crafting system in this game requires us to have massive amounts of materials on hand, or of course
Yeah.
stored for leveling. But with our storage being so limited in both weight and space for unique items, this can really feel, well, really bad. And on top of that,
Yeah.
as I said before, we are so limited by an outdated search and filter system. It all just ends up leading to a ton of unneeded frustration. If having the weight restriction is so important because the developers really like the chests and home ownership in relation to storage, that's fine. You could even
I think the chests and home ownership is fine, but I just think the storage is like the first step should be just link all the storages. You know,
Yeah.
like for example, like in WoW, where you can do like you can have each bag individual, or you can have a like one bag where it's like just all the slots together.
Exactly.
New
Yeah.
World should effectively do the same thing.
use this to solve two issues: having the shed set to hold either much larger stacks with no weight restrictions, or a much higher weight restriction but only for materials, and
Yeah.
have the chests in our homes for gear and weapons only. You know, something like that. These are just ideas, but clearly what's happening now is just not the answer. We basically just need a completely better way to filter and search our separate storages for different item types. Whatever the solution, our storage needs a rework. Another thing I believe needs
I don't think searching is like the right way to go about it. It's like how, I mean, Asmon already brought it up, but like loadouts or presets, whatever you want to call it, is the most ideal, at least when it comes to like how gear works. And I do think they should have their own separate little inventory for equipment. This makes it much easier to go through it.
needs a rework is of course the trophies. Now, I am not on team get rid of the trophies. I love them. However, what I don't love is how the function works when it comes to changing them. I am fine limiting us to 5 active max trophies per house. But why can't we hang them all, then have a toggle in our bio window to turn them on and off? This would be
Yeah, I think again, like the trophies, and it's the same as the gear, right? Is that as this
Having
game has
loadouts or
gotten
presets.
more of like it's become more of a PvE game, the nuances between changing these trophies around and like having these different armor sets, it's something that theoretically sounds really good, but the nuts and bolts of it really become annoying.
so
Yeah, it's the interaction with the mechanic itself is what sounds like to be the main issue. So that's what they need to work on. It's not the mechanic itself, it's the how players interact with that mechanic.
much easier than having to fast travel around the map to all of our houses every time we need to change our trophies. Another thing in the game that I feel needs some love is the character stat page, or I guess the paper doll. The amount of information that we are given about our character on this page is way too limited.
Okay.
We need a way to see what benefits we are receiving, wards, luck, resists, including acid.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. Actually, that was one of my biggest gripes when I play New World.
A complete breakdown. So that
Yeah, I think that they should have that. Like Lost Ark has this, for example, whenever you look at your base stats, you also have a button that you can click and it gives you your advanced stats and it tells you everything
Yeah,
about your character that you need
exactly.
to know. And I think New World, if they had that, it's like there's no reason that that would be harmful to the game.
Exactly. Like, I'm not like a hardcore player, but even I was like, man, I really want to see exactly how this is making it better or what's being affected.
we can easily total our gather luck or squash myths that amulets provide negative luck and stuff like that. Being able to track this information is important to players and always has been across all MMOs. And for our characters,
Any
another
RPG,
huge improvement
yep.
to the game would be a barbershop or something like that that would
I
allow
agree
us
with
to
that.
change our character's appearance. Even
Yeah.
add some stuff to the in-game shop if that
Yeah, exactly. Don't they have like transmog stuff as well? So I think just building onto that, yeah.
motivates you and makes some stuff exclusive. That's fine, but please add this feature. It's these little things that are often looked at as stupid that in fact keep people playing. And of course, along with this comes the transmog system. This needs to happen on schedule. And
I feel like they've been talking about transmog for a year almost.
Yeah, I thought it was
Like,
already
we
implemented.
really need
Like, I haven't played it in a while, so I just assumed they finally did it because it's been like forever since they first talked about it.
that. What like this needs to eventually happen because like
I think it
I
should
think
have
a
already
lot of
happened.
the store skins are cool, but a lot of the in-game skins, in my opinion, are even cooler. And like that's a W for New World, but you don't get a chance to see those or use them because you never do
Yeah.
that. Like I feel like what they should do is they should make it to where like you have to complete like a mutation 5 or a mutation 10 to like be able to transmog the gear from like that area. That would be cool. Or do
I think just getting the gear should be all you need. I don't know why you're adding like so much to it. Like I personally think World of Warcraft has the best transmog system of any MMO. And I don't know why you would add things to it that make it more annoying. Like it drops, you pick it up, boom, transmog available. Even if you sell it, I still think you should keep the transmog.
something similar to that.
Maybe that's why he's adding this extra thing is because like there's no bind on pickup. So you could just literally just trade it with a bunch of people and unlock the transmog for it. I personally don't care. If that's I don't know why people would see that as a big issue. Maybe like for like I keep saying like but maybe it's because you feel like you accomplished something through an achievement. So I see what he's saying. I don't know if I agree. Wait, if you equip something, doesn't that mean you can't sell it? Like there's bind of equip though? Like it's no bind on pick up, but it's bind on equip. I could be wrong. Maybe I am. If that's the case, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say because I don't think making it annoying is a good way to go about it.
That
Like if you're gonna have it where you need to do something to unlock the armor as a transmog, just don't make it annoying.
it really needs to allow us to dye the skins in the shop. And before we hear another speech about how
Maybe have it where there's a reputation in the game with each like area in a sense. So completing quests or like even gathering, killing things, uh, will increase that reputation, quote unquote. And once you get to a certain reputation, which shouldn't be like a high one, um, you get to unlock all the transmog from that area.
Difficult it is. Let's not forget, there was a bug only a month ago that allowed people to dye their shield skins. So let's replicate that bug to the rest of the skins.
Okay.
Now, of course, I'm being a little bit silly here, but really? Now, let's talk about why I feel a lot of players leave. First, let's look at companies. When the game first released, it was exciting. The idea that we could take and hold territories and work together as a company, building friendships, planning attacks, and all that comes along with it. Well, then reality set in, of course. Only very few companies of the very top percent of players would ever actually interact with this system,
Who could have ever predicted this?
leaving everyone else in a place where, frankly, a company doesn't even really
Yeah, Asmon talked about it before the game even came out, if I remember right, or immediately after it. But I think anyone who had played MMOs before knew this system would not work.
much matter. This is where I feel the game could grow in a big way, giving companies an opportunity to become more competitive while still creating the cohesion and friendships required to actually even begin to compete at a war level. Like one thing would be company housing. And you may be asking yourself, well, how would that help? Well, other games have implemented great systems that achieve this.
Like
Like,
Final
for
Fantasy.
example, in
Yeah.
Star
Yep.
Trek Online. As the company, or the fleet in this case, but we will say company to keep it simple. As the company works together, farms, completes objectives,
What they need to have is a fucking guild bank. How many times did you guys get
That's
like
true.
a really cool item? Like you saw that Rattlebones like treasure goblin guy, and you kill them and you got a really cool item for like a level 25 or a level 15, but there's nobody that you can sell it to really, so you just get rid of it. But
Yep.
like if they had a guild bank, you could give that to new players. Also, like the company sizes are too small.
Or you have materials that you no longer need. Like it's just not going to level up anything because they're low level materials. Um, like I've thrown away like a lot of materials. I mean, yes, I could have sold it, but like it sells for so little that it doesn't feel like it's even worth it. But if you have a guild bank, you just throw it in there. You know what I mean?
100 people, that's nothing.
and all sorts of things. Very difficult projects are completed. And when these are completed, stations in the company house are upgraded. And the cool thing here, the station upgrading system already exists in New World.
Mm-hmm.
And when you upgrade these stations, you then unlock access to perks or gear that do not exist anywhere else. They can't be crafted, can't be farmed, and then people in the company who have contributed can then craft the gear in these stations. And before you say this will be exploited and companies will simply unlock these, then sell spots to craft stuff, making it all stupid. No, that's the beauty of this system done correctly. Whenever a company member takes part in a required activity for the project, which could be anything from PvP bounty hunt to PvE missions to kill 300 ancients or even gather 200 ironwood, anything, they will receive a company trade token or something, which of course will be bound. These tokens will be
I think he's. I don't think the idea is bad, but I think it's like way overcomplicated and way too many systems, just to solve like this minor issue. You know what I mean? Like it's it's the issue of going to the store or going to like a fast food place that's like a couple of blocks away. So you built a spaceship to get there. It, it it's basically like it's way more than what's actually needed to solve the issue. Not that it's bad, having a spaceship wouldn't be bad, but it's just overkill.
required material in crafting the items at the stations. This then encourages people to log in and take part in these activities,
Yeah, makes sense.
as well as encourage companies to work together to achieve higher stakes.
I just don't see that many people being that interested in this. I think obviously there will be, but I don't think anyone who was gonna not play the game, like quit the game, I don't think this would be something that would keep them playing. If that makes sense.
Stations to make the better gear.
That's
The
smart.
key here is to make
Yeah,
this
this is actually a
something they
really good
can't
idea.
achieve in an
I like
afternoon.
this.
That's the trouble. Things are moving a little too fast recently.
I'm trying to compare it to anything. The only thing that comes close to this, in my opinion, would be a Warframe, and that's probably why I'm having like a negative connotation to this, and why I don't think it would really do much. Is because Warframe has something extremely similar to what he's talking about. If anyone plays Warframe and like joined a guild, I think they call it a guild or clan maybe in Warframe. Either way, same shit. And I don't know. It didn't really add anything to the game. Like I thought it was cool, but I don't know. It just didn't feel like much. Um, I could be wrong. Maybe a ton of people use it in Warframe and love it. Personally, didn't really care. I still quit Warframe. Had nothing to do with that system. That system did not make me play longer than I would have. So I just don't see it as that big of a deal.
Anyway, just one idea among many. Another big thing that would help the game to grow and be fun again is to stop adding new features and forgetting about the old ones. For example, the Group Finder tool was a
Warcraft.
great addition, but it was clearly not finished and still needs a ton of refining and work. I do think it needs to go a lot further, like add a function to it to allow for random pub groups, where it just selects 5 members by desired role and throws them in.
I don't think that's really a good idea. I don't think that you need that unless you like. That's probably what people do is they just invite people that show up anyway. They probably invite the first people that queue up. So I think what they should do instead is they should just make it to where whenever you let me think of a way to put this. Like they should make it to where if you use the group finder, it's like WoW, where you can do it with other people from other servers. Because that's why the group finder was
Oh,
good, is it made it to where people that had
yeah. The pool of players was just way, way more than just your server. Yeah, I completely agree.
dead servers could still play the game functionally.
Yep.
That's the biggest weakness that that New World has, is that they don't have what WoW had with like basically making it to where playing on a dead server isn't as unpleasant. Because if you're playing on a dead New World server, it is depressing.
Having the ability to check gear score and
Yeah.
rewards and all is fine.
Especially since I don't think they allow you to transfer or you have to pay for it. Either way, it's not like
For
convenient.
higher mutation runs. But when it comes to regular old Genesis runs, why not just toss 5 new players in and let them play? Territory standing is another old feature that we were told would be getting reworked, and it needs it in a big way.
Yeah.
With the tax changes to housing and the fees on benches, most of the perks now are very underwhelming. And on top of that, so many players are almost max level before they realize how permanent it really is. So we desperately need a way to respec these selections later, even if it's on a cooldown or something. One of my favorite parts of the game when it first released.
I also think they could have done more with the territory standing. Like instead of like affecting taxes or something, increase crit chance and stuff like that. Of course, respecking also you want to do, but I think having it to where you can mess around with it to lend more to your build, like overall, I think would be pretty cool. Maybe I don't know, maybe they thought about it and didn't like it, but I think personally, like it would make if you have a favorite grinding spot and you got like a stupidly high standing with it, you can either, of course, build towards gathering or build towards combats or stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Released was the faction quests and vendors. But as the game evolved and matured, these quickly became completely dead content.
Yeah,
which
there's
is a
no
shame
reason to do them.
considering
Yep.
the core of the game centers around the
And the thing is, like now they are super dead content because you can get 590 named gear so easily.
factions.
Exactly.
Having this whole system mean nothing now just doesn't make sense. And I know some people will say that's why they added the PvP track. Well, if the PvP track was added to be a step-up replacement for the faction vendor, I will again say why. No one is going to grind at this stage of the game for 520 gear, not
No.
even a player, so why does it exist? They need to completely rework these vendors, have them offer skins that are faction related, even change the old faction 520 gear to skins instead of gear. Something.
Exactly.
I want a
That's
reason
a really
to
good
choose
idea.
to waste my time grinding these tokens.
Yep.
Now, for
Yeah, there's no reason to grind them. The only reason you grind them is like there's some crafting items you get with them, and you can also get gypsum orbs.
PvP. This is an important aspect of the game, and I'm so tired of this silly back and forth between PvP and PvE players. It has reached levels that are just ridiculous. The reality is simple. Some people enjoy PvE, and some enjoy PvP, and we can't ignore either. The PvP community needs more diversity in play, additional maps for OPR, and no, it will not split the queues, that's a silly excuse. Have them rotate like mutations do.
Yeah.
They need more of a
course.
reason to play 3v3, like a real ranking system with rewards and titles associated, and a season format would probably.
I mean, they don't really need rotations. Just have it where when you queue for PvP, you queue for all modes. So it's not separated modes or maps. Like World of Warcraft, like it has a bunch of maps and modes, but when you queue for an RBG or not RBG, like normal BG and then epic BG, which I believe they only separate based on the amount of players. Um, like that way, even with World of Warcraft, I don't think most people would. I think some people mind it. Either way, like have it where that one queue queues you up for like pretty much everything.
Probably work best. And
That's
they need
smart.
a reason to world PvP. Like, there has to be something added to the game that pushes people to flag besides luck. Because frankly, luck in this game is ridiculous to begin with. Like some sort of lucrative daily quest system with bounties on world PvP play. Or
This is what WoW has, and this is what they started doing in BFA with War Mode, is they would have like a weekly quest for people to go into War Mode and to
Mm-hmm.
go do PvP. And I think
Yeah, I actually agree because I actually do them in World of Warcraft with Dragonflight. Um, is I go and do those world quests for the PvP. I think it's cool that it's PvP, but it also is PvE in a sense because a lot of the world quest things aren't like kill players. Of course, you can do that as well, but it's like, oh, you gotta get this item, like 15 of this item. You can either collect it through killing the mobs, or you can kill players and get it faster in a sense. Um, I think that's perfect. You know what I mean? So even me, who prefers PVE over PvP, well, not really, because I mainly PvP now. Um, like, but sometimes I just don't want a PvP in world questing. Um, yeah, no, I think it's World of Warcraft has really done a great job with it.
that worked pretty well for WoW. I don't know why New World doesn't do this.
something that encourages it. Have hot zones that change in max level zones, where you're always flagged in that zone on X day or something. And while we're on
I don't really think that having people be force flagged is a good idea. I think that the
Nope,
moment that you force somebody into PvP is the moment that that person stops enjoying the game. I
and
don't
you
think
could
that
lose
an
them as a
average
player.
player's
Yep.
experience is improved by that.
the topic of PvP, we desperately
But
need
I do think they should have zones that are specific for like how Diablo 4 is going to be coming out with it, where there are zones designed or not designed, but like they're always going to be PvP. It doesn't change. You know what I mean? It's not sometimes PvP. It's like, no, that area is always PvP. It has a little mechanic designed for that area with PvP in mind. I think that would be cool. Just straight up.
separate PvP and PvE balancing. The current system, where if you nerf something for PvP, it completely makes it unusable in PvE, just doesn't work, and vice versa.
Yeah,
And
this is
related
the
to
same
that,
WoW
why
problem.
does gear roll with Resilience, Shirking Fort, and Ancient Ward? This doesn't make sense to me. The crafting is RNG enough. The PvP perk buckets need to be separate from the PvE. It doesn't make the gear
Yes,
harder and more fun to
absolutely.
get. It makes people rage and quit is what it does.
Yeah, it definitely does. Because whenever you spend a long time trying to craft a piece of gear and then you just get the wrong stat, and you know that like now you have to spend another 8 hours crafting, it sucks.
Now, I could go on forever about features we all want and wish for, but let's
Mm-hmm.
now step into the realm of reality for a moment and talk about things that need addressing immediately. Not new features or quality of life improvements, simply bugs, things that are broken and have been for some time and need addressed. And
Okay.
addressing them will go a long way in making people feel a lot more content while they're playing.
Wonder what
For
he's
one,
gonna
elite
say.
chests, why do they not give any arrows above iron? This has been like this since release and doesn't make any sense. And the alchemy stockpiles, not giving above regular motes. I mean, there's nothing in the game like killing a 67
Yep.
gold elite to access a
Okay.
stockpile.
I
It
forgot
gives
about
3
those.
earth motes and 1 healing potion.
Ah, man.
That's crazy. That's still in the game. That's
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
Uh huh.
That's
That's.
like
I mean,
cyberpunk
where's
level
the
of bad.
lie?
This, of course, needs to change immediately. They need to fix broken tooltips on items. Like one that stands out for me, the Major Fishing Trophy has said 9,000 luck on it since release, when it provides, of course, 5,000 now, and it has for months since the trophies were changed.
Uh-huh.
The encumbrance music buff, the patch notes stated it gives 200 to 1,000, but in the game, it gives 20 to 100. So which is it supposed to be? Is it broken, or were the patch
Jesus.
notes wrong? This has never been directly addressed. And I won't even get into the Cutlass Keys Fort if you know what I'm talking about.
I think the big problem really is like dead servers. I think that if New World was able to combine all the servers, it would instantly make the game 10x better.
I actually do agree because a lot of the good moments I've had in New World was when I would run into like big packs of people and we would just do the objective. So the only times it was annoying is getting materials, like trying to farm materials. Because obviously, if there's too many people there, you're fighting for materials and it feels like you're wasting your time.
The problem is like with world PvP, you don't have enough people that are going out there doing it because there's an
Which I think WoW did a good job of it, where the node of what you're trying to gather, whatever it may be, sticks around for I think like a minute or 30 seconds or something like that. Um, so that if you show up immediately after someone who got the node, you can still get it, which I actually prefer.
incentive. But if you had enough people out in the world, you would be able to find those fights because there'd be so many people out there.
I could again go on and on. I'm sure every player has a list of persistent bugs. And in closing, I would just like to touch on some of the changes I would like to see.
I think one of the bugs is that, like, I'll get hit by mechanics and I won't be in the circle. Like, I'm sorry, but I think that the center of your player's character should be where the hitbox is. And if your character is out of the circle that says don't stand in the circle.
I don't know if it's a bug, but I would say my main issue is getting pushed around by mobs when you're tanking.
You shouldn't hit it. Period. I also think that the attacks, the frontal attacks that bosses do that have a radius, like this is like, look, it's like you have, here's the boss and here is the attack radius of the boss. And so this is smiley face, or sorry, this is happy, this is sad.
Is he, that should be behind the boss, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because that happens a lot where you have to be right in his ass to not get hit.
And the problem is that the animation is like this. So this is what we call in the Dark Souls community phantom range.
Oh, I didn't know there was an actual name for it.
It's like it doesn't show the attack being there, but it's there. It's fucking annoying. And there's no reason for this to happen. It adds no value to the game, and I think it just creates frustration whenever you have a bunch of attacks that push your character forward.
Yeah.
It's like you have attacks with super finicky hitboxes, and at the same time, you also have phantom range on the attacks that the bosses do that are outside of the animations. It's desync. Yes, it's awful. That's a huge problem. Because somebody does that, and like they're not,
it makes the
out of
gameplay
circle,
just feel
but they
like
still
shit.
get hit by it, they're pissed.
In the way the developers handle and communicate with the community.
This
and this is not meant to be negative.
Sucks.
I have a great deal of respect.
Yeah, because it doesn't feel like it's because you fucked up, like you messed up on the skill, you didn't weren't paying attention. It's literally like it's just unfair.
For the devs.
I do too. I have a massive amount of respect for the New World developers. I'm a huge fan of the game. I completely support the game. But damn, there are some things that could do better. And you know what? Last year, there were a lot of things that could do better, and now there's less of them. They have made this game a lot better. So yes, I really hope this game continues to improve.
Dealing with a community that can be very toxic at times, as well as balancing that with your corporate overlords, is no small feat. And this to them is their job, not a game they love in a lot of cases like the players.
Hopefully they don't
so I
give
recognize they're doing the best they know how.
I hope they don't.
But there are some areas
we're going to play
New
World again soon.
At least from my perspective. For one, the PTR feedback. I know they say they read it, and maybe they do. However, I've taken part in every PTR we have ever had, and I've sifted through the PTR feedback and tested things all along the way, as I've reported in many of my videos. And almost every big issue we have experienced after a PTR cycle and the patch goes live has been reported on the PTR feedback. It isn't some new bug that cropped up in the live ecosystem we were not expecting. So going through...
Unfortunately, WoW, that is still kind of the case. I mean, hopefully Dragonflight and stuff kind of changes it, but damn, like that sounds super familiar.
Through this feedback actively, testing and fixing these issues before live will go a long way in rebuilding player faith.
It's crazy how overpowered Trenchant Recovery is, isn't it? So basically, you guys might not know this, but like basically every time he does an attack, he heals for like 30 to 40% of the damage from his attack. It's fucking disgusting. Bro, I roll the Gypsum Orb. It was like my second one at 600. I hit a legendary fucking sword, and it had like Trenchant Recovery. It was like Keen, Vicious, or Enchanted. I forgot which one also. And it had like Corrupted Bane on it too. It was absolutely fucking disgusting. I still use it.
Another huge thing that would help would be to make the devlogs more of a hype machine. Keep it positive, show concept art, sneak peeks. We aren't asking you to promise things or even give a time frame, but talking about amazing features you have thought of and are working on would be great.
Awesome.
All it would take in reality to keep the community happy is clarity, honesty, and a little hope. Sharing bits with us about the future would give people the feeling that New World
I think
is
that's
here.
across almost any game. I think most games should do this. I think WoW is like a great example with their roadmap. So I think most games should kind of look at that and how the dev blogs have been going with New World. From what I understand, it's been pretty good. So
stay, not dying. This whole narrative that's been created that the company is letting the game die is what's scaring off players. MMOs.
Yeah, I think that's true too. Is like, and also like you can see that with the servers. Like it's again the server situation, because the truth is like, I remember whenever they did the Brimstone Sands update, and then they also did like that Return to Eternum event. Bro, that juiced the fuck out of the game. And not only did it juice the fuck out of the game, but the game kept the juice. People stayed with the game for like a month, 2 months, with like no extra new content. People, the sponsored event went away for one day. Nah, bro, look at the graph. Like, it completely fucking built up that game. Yeah, a whole month. Yeah, it was huge.
yeah.
Like a whole month for a game, an MMO that's been out for a year, it still has all these residual problems. It was massive, man. I love the new character during it. Yeah, so did I.
Seriously.
And like people even played it after the sponsor fucking time was over. I wasn't the only one. I played the fuck out of this. It was really fun. The only reason I quit is because Dragonflight came out. And I think that's the big reason why New World isn't doing well. It's because Dragonflight just came out. It's because Wrath of the Lich King had Old War release. Final Fantasy just brought out a new Ultimate, and they've been pumping content. And Lost Ark just had Belshazzar, the most anticipated raid release. It's like New World exists in an ecosystem, and inside that ecosystem, it's just not. It's not W farming right now, and it's not their fault. It's just next time that content comes out, I really hope that they have a good promotional campaign for it. I'll play it regardless. I don't.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to agree on that. But at the same time, I do think it was smart for them not to release too much content at this time and keep working on it. Just because, like he said, Dragonflight. I think Dragonflight's the biggest one. I don't think the other games were that much of an impact. I could be wrong, but I think for a lot of players who play New World, they probably aren't the type to play Lost Ark. Maybe obviously some, but I think of the majority are like Warcraft players. So I think Dragonflight was what the biggest hit to them. But at the same time, as long as they're not like releasing stuff at the same time as Dragonflight, I think New World should be fine.
I don't give a fuck if they pay me. Don't send them this though. I will still fucking play it.
Yeah.
Require huge investments of people's time, and people simply don't want to invest that time in a game if the idea is that it'll be gone in a year. And for 100%. Adding a door, this made me laugh, because we know it's super hard to add a door. I mean, it sounds simple, but we have all noticed there are no doors in New World, only doorways.
I never noticed that. That's crazy. Holy shit. That's so funny. I never noticed that. How did I miss that? That's crazy, man. I think that's the case though with some MMOs, right? No, Final Fantasy has them. You just don't really open them. You just like zone in.
So in the Tempest Keep expedition, after you kill the Spriggan, you go towards this door, and it's a double door area, and you click it and it opens the doors, and then to the right of it there's like a chest, and then there's a corruption brute.
Oh,
so that is a door.
I would also like to thank black
That's a gate, not not a door.
That's a good argument. That does sound like a gate of
Wait a minute.
sense.
All right.
I mean, it's
Um.
yeah. I think he got him. Because what I was gonna say, it's not really a door either. Was there's in one of the areas, there's this area there's this like temple ish area, that's blocked off. You have to cut wood to get in. It's not really a door, but it's not an open entrance
Um.
either. Uh,
Uh. Inside
is the queen?
inside the starting quest, the revamped starting quest for Covenant, whenever you get the quest at the top of Windsward, at the bottom right of Everfall at the cathedral, you get a quest to kill cultists that have been corrupted by corruption. And I believe that in order to access that cultist area, you have to interface with a door.
I don't remember that. But he could be right. I just don't remember. I don't think I played through the new one
I
for that.
I not opening it. That's a boulder? Is it a boulder? Oh, fuck, it's a boulder. Okay. All right. I still think the Tempest Keep example is the best one I've got. Or not Tempest Keep, Tempest Heart.
For his post on the forums, where he has
Phasing doesn't
compiled a
count.
much
Okay.
larger list that would be impossible to put into a video. This thread helps shed light on a lot of what the community wants, and I want to make it clear to everyone. This
I
video
don't think
was
doors
long
really
and
matter,
may
though.
seem like I'm hating, but I am not. I am simply trying to engage the community in conversation. Conversation that is
Yeah, it's a
positive
really
and
good
constructive.
video.
Yes, we all want the
Surprisingly,
game to be
like,
better, but what does better look like truly?
insightful.
Let me know in the comments. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
This is a nice video, especially from somebody who's like really even-handed, and also he's got a lot of experience with the game.
Yeah.
That's really cool to see.
What do you say? 5,000 hours? Like, Jesus.
Yeah, I'm glad to see this. I'm going to read a few of the videos. I mean, as a fan of New World ever since the first event, this is awesome. I'm very happy, and
Yeah, I think New World is actually a really solid game, like, overall. But like you said, like, there's a lot of little things they could make better. I personally think, one, like, you shouldn't be able to be pushed as a tank. Well, some things, yes, but not like almost everything does in the game, unfortunately. But maybe like certain abilities may be able to do some pushback to you. Um, but it shouldn't be a case where they're like you feel like a bowling ball just being pushed around the freaking area as a tank. But I think one of the main things I would really look forward to is if they actually added like some really cool animations to your attacks, similar to like Lost Ark. You know what I mean? Like make it look bad fucking ass when you're like killing shit. Because right now it just doesn't feel all that cool when you're beating things up. Like it's not bad. It's not terrible. I just think they can do a lot better.
I hope they're able to continue making content and stuff for it. But
Yeah.
we'll see if that ever happens. Okay, let's go back down, and we'll read a few of the comments here. Positive track. Good video, a lot of good ideas. I don't understand how anybody can interpret it as toxic or hateful. The trophy system stress has to happen. You're right, bro. They have to let us place all trophies instead of just 5. It's annoying, not enjoying.
Well, he didn't say you place all trophies. He just said you should be able to toggle the ones that are active. So it's a little different.
Where is the value add that a player gets out of rearranging trophies? I don't think it exists. Meaningful choice? Yes. People make the meaningful choice to play another game.
Yeah, definitely true. I think with trophies, like I said, I think it should fall under like almost like World of Warcraft's talent tree, where you have like your normal talent tree, and then like to the bottom right hand side, you have like your PvP talents. But I think in New World they can kind of do the same, but in the bottom right hand side it's like your trophy talents. You know what I mean? So that way you just like pick 3 or 5 or how many New World wants to do, and you can kind of change it on the fly. Uh, you know, that way you're not having to go back to your freaking house every time you want to change a trophy. So stuff like that I think would really help. I don't think it's like crazy big, but it definitely would help the overall experience of the game. So yeah, I mean, really good video.